Ask and you shall receive. 5 builds capable of nuking the circuit. These are my insta picks for DPS. In no particular order. Mesa is a DPS monster, which scales extremely well with the decrees, especially close contagion. Assuming that your luck isn't completely out to get you, Mesa tends to get stronger faster than the enemies. Not only that, but Mesa is well capable of making good use of the utility supports can offer her, switching between solo carry and team player at the click of a button. She synergizes especially well with Revenant, who I ranked as the #1 best Warframe in the circuit. Check it out. The first version of this build is the most balanced. You can usually take one hit without dying at higher levels. As well, we have one auger mod on here to give that extra chance at living. Our main defense is killing everything in line of sight instantaneously, but sometimes over an hour something will slip through the cracks. Now this build does have a lot of legendary grade mods on it. You can drop some of these for the normal version without losing any major breakpoints, but you will of course see a reduced performance. If you want to play for the later rounds, you can swap fleeting expertise for streamline and rely on the proficient fighter decree. These versions rely on pellets for armor strip and shield restoration. If you are playing with Revenant, I would mod for corrosive on your regulators instead and use Nourish for viral and a ton of added damage. 301% damage in fact, relying on heat and corrosive to strip armor. We also get another element for galvanized shot. In terms of Archon shards, I've gone ahead and added 3 amber and 2 crimson for 75% cast speed, which is the breakpoint for the regulators, making them instant cast, and 2 crimson for some extra strength. The crimson shards are overkill, but the amber shards are absolutely needed. The last thing we can guarantee is our focus school, and we go with good old generic for that energy region. Finally, for arcanes, I'm using Arcane Energize and Mold Augmented. Next up, we have Protea. And don't expect that level of detail for all of these. I just really like Mesa. Again, we are using an auger mod on Protea, this time going for auger reads. If rolling guard is on cooldown, then you'll be able to save yourself by throwing grenades at your feet twice. Protea don't scale quite as well as Mesa in terms of damage, but she's way more survivable with her satellites, and her dispensary is great for support, making her more of a hybrid pick, especially good as a second DPS. We are running with Archon Vitality, as it is literally a 2x damage increase. Equilibrium will provide 100 additional energy on each cycle of dispensary, but we need combat discipline to be able to pick up health orbs consistently. We can offset this with a single heal decree later, and rolling guard is also needed if you want to remain even slightly mobile. And no, we cannot use Arcane Blessing, because once it's fully stacked, then we will no longer be able to pick up health orbs. For subsume abilities, we can choose between Ensnare for DPS or Resignator for a support approach. For our arcanes, it is the good old combo. Our focus tree will be Unarrow for armor strip with caustic strike and a second chance with vengeance, and static purge as a plan E. I don't have any Archon shards on her because I don't think she needs any. I guess if you wanted to, you could add 5 crimson shards for 50 ability strength. Next up, we have Xaku. The main upside to Xaku is that he scales off enemy levels, making him consistent. The main downside is that he can only make use of 2 of the decrees. Another upside is that his armor strip has a massive area of effect. Unfortunately, Xaku can only attack 1 enemy at a time, requires line of sight, and needs to be relatively close to the enemy, so he struggles to make use of this large area. However, as a second DPS to Protea or Mesa, he's damn good. Once again, we use Rolling Guard and 1 Auger mod as a panic button. Since Xaku has evasion, he gets more use out of that 1 shield gate. I am using the Resignator again with the Conductor Augment, but once I get around to it, I'm gonna replace it with Primed Sure-Footed. Remember, spending less time on your DPS is a massive ass increase. I am using Intensify, Mold Augmented and 1 Crimson Archon Shard to get that 200% ability strength, which is 100% armor strip. Trust me, the difference between 99 and 100 is massive. Make sure you hit that 200% ability strength somehow. Focus School time. We'll be using the support Focus School to support ourselves. Protective Sling will be our panic button's panic button. And let's not underestimate Guardian's Shell. It's a unidirectional shield, which when broken will grant us 150% shield recharge, which we don't care about. But the 90% reduction in shield charge delay is crazy. That allows shield recharge after 0.4 seconds. Remember, your health is safe for 0.3 seconds after losing your shield, which leaves us with a 0.1 seconds where we can actually die. I took some of the feedback I got from the top 5 strongest Warframes in the circuit video and improved on the Garuda build quite a bit. I'm still confident that she doesn't quite belong in the top 5 overall strongest Warframes, but it's quite close. The main thing holding her back is a dependency on the Crease. The Blood Bowl plus talent will kill anything, but slowly. On the other hand, once this build come online, you will turn into an attack helicopter raining down talents upon the enemy. I believe that you need twofold Torment and close Contagions to make it work, but then you can just spam your talents to great effect. Rolling Guard is not going to be useful most of the time, but when it is, you'll be glad that you had it. Archon Vitality for that extra 30% ability strength. I'll replace Rifle Amp with Brief Respite as soon as I can get around to it. Remember, it's an aura, so your team will love you for this. Mold Augmented and Avenger in the Arcane slots. For our Focus School, we use Mandorai because of the 40% ability strength on Sling Strength and 50% ability cast speed on Power Transfer. Speaking of cast speed, we use 3 Amber Shards to get 75% cast speed and 2 Ashura Shards for 12.5 healing per second, allowing us to spam Bloodletting in the early waves as well. For my Subsume, I have Roar, because it works on abilities as well. It's a faction damage multiplier, meaning that it double dips with DOTs, which bleed is one off, making it a 4 times damage multiplier at 300% ability strength, which we have when all our buffs are online. Finally, we have Mirage, which has the strongest damage output on round 1, but she only scales with 2 decrees and not with enemy levels, so you can see how she falls off later on. She's also unbelievably squishy. If you're looking for some nice and relaxing gameplay, don't play this. Anyways, there are no tricks here. Prism just deals that much damage. We'll use Prism Guard to bring it with us, and you will need a few decrees to maintain your energy, so it's not quite spammable in the first few rounds. It would have been a good idea to install Prime Surefooted on any one of these builds, but here you actually need it. Getting knocked on your ass is death. You'll be surviving on Rolling Guard and Protective Sling from Vasarin. Guardian Break and Shield Gating will help, but don't rely on them. For my Archon Shards, I went with 3 Amber for 75 casting speed, maybe you're starting to see a pattern, and 2 Crimson for duration, which in hindsight was probably overkill, the Crimson Shard was. So that is my top picks for DPS in the circuit. Now watch this as well.